What's up, everybody? Welcome into Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast. Phil Perry's alongside Patriots Titans this weekend. And boy, does the schedule keep matching up for the Patriots in a perfect fashion. But before we get into this game and all the things surrounding it and a variety of other topics, I want to start you guys off with a trivia question. How about some trivia at the top?
I love trivia. Let's go.
I do too. I implement it sometimes on quick slants, but not nearly often enough. But I like it so much that I think I should make it a staple of the program because these people are going to hang around to make sure they get the answer right, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to get the answer to this question correct. October 5th, 2003, the Patriots played Jeff Fisher's Titans at Gillette Stadium. On that day, they won 38-30. Mike Cloud, 7 carries, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. Troy Brown, a 58-yard touchdown reception. Ty Law, a 65-yard pick six late in the game. There were 38 points scored in the final 16 minutes of that game. Why was that game historic? We'll get you the answer later, Phil. Sit on it for a few.
All right, I'm going to think.
All right, sit on it for a few. Meanwhile, Mike Vrabel, who did not play in that game. That might have been a broken arm year for him. And he came back and played with a cast. But here's what Mike Vrabel had to say when we asked him about going back to Tennessee this week and whether his players will be fired up to win on his behalf.
Yeah, we're not trying to win one for the Gipper here. We're just trying to make sure that these guys are focused on improving. And I think that they are. I think they're locked in. And hopefully, we can get them as prepared as we possibly can.
I will remember you. Will they remember Mike?
Of course.
Is he going to leave a new memory for them?
I think he will, and I think he's probably pretty motivated to do that. Not that he's not motivated other weeks, but just knowing his personality and understanding where the Patriots are right now as a team. I think if you're a coach, you're always looking to pull whatever lever you can. Now, it might be a little different for Vrabel this week because it has to do with himself, and he's always trying to give the attention to the players, but they're kind of riding high right now, the Patriots are. They're about to play one of the worst teams in football. Third week in a row on the road. Don't you think they could maybe use a little bit of edge? And if they want to use him as their motivation for this week, who is he?
He's
to
the
shut
galvanizer.
That down.
He's the galvanizer. I think can't say every lever he's pulled works, but we've talked about the Andy Borregales move in the opening week and lampooned him for giving him a game ball, and Andy's drilling 58-yard game winners. Might have been 68. Things getting longer as we speak. 52.
I think it's still going.
Ramondre Stevenson has certainly not erupted since being shown faith, but he has done a good job of meeting them as players and getting the most out of them. So I think that they would want to win one for the Gipper.
I think they also they like him. So it's one thing to be putting them in good positions to have success on the field and help them and their families. I mean, he's been very open about wanting guys to have success so that they can make money. I mean, without using those words, that's essentially what he's getting at. This is pro football. This is pro sports. So I think they like him in terms of the job that he's doing, but he's also done a lot, Tom. I mean, this goes back to training camp, and we laughed at it at the time. But diving into the pile to try to separate a couple guys and coming out bloodied, talking to players after the fact, they would laugh at it too. And I don't want to make it seem like it was this season-changing event, but he did it multiple times. He did it in Minnesota too. And I think it does show the players that he has their backs in a way that most other coaches cannot, because of the physical nature of what he's doing. And this is an opportunity for them to show him that they've got his back too.
There's a lot of things he does that shows that he was a former player and that he feels them as players. Not every coach goes on the field when a guy gets injured. Mike's on the field when a guy gets injured. And again, I sometimes think guys do things for window dressing, and this will look a certain way. It might not be the first impetus for them doing something, but I think Mike genuinely goes, look, I know what it feels like when you're hurt out there. You don't want to lay on your back by yourself, looking at a bunch of guys in ties, trying to move your leg. Maybe can the guy who sent you out there check on you? Does he give a shit? Huh? I'll do it. I'll say a 4-letter S word if I have to make my point.
I know you will.
Sorry to the kids in the back of the minivans listening to that. Didn't mean to subject you to that.
Dad, why'd he say
that? Phil's going through it. He's going through it. But do you think Mike's wired in a particular way that might make it tempting to him to grind the Tennessee Titans a bit?
Yes. And I remember, a couple different instances just against the Patriots where it feels like those moments might be indications of how he might be feeling and what he might be wanting to do this weekend. I mean, we all remember when he finagled the clock in the exact same way that Bill Belichick finagled the clock against the Jets, and sort of that smirk on Vrabel's face on the sideline as he's doing it to his former coach. The quarterback pass, the quarterback target pass that the Patriots tried to run in Tennessee in 2018, boy, they just got the bag beaten out of them that day. I remember covering that game and those guys just being absolutely flummoxed in the locker room after the fact. They felt like the Titans knew all their calls. They felt like they couldn't do anything right. One of the things they tried to do was throw a pass to Tom Brady. He stumbled, fell. I think he hurt his knee on that particular play, couldn't complete it. And then it felt like moments later, mid-game, Vrabel's basically mocking his old quarterback by running the exact same play and succeeding with Marcus Mariota. So he's got that, whatever that is, in him. And I think it could lead to something fun happening on Sunday.
It might be low-level Missoula. He's got a low-level Missoula.
I think they're both maniacal competitors. And they probably both have long memories.
Titans stink. Let's go through some numbers. I think we visited these the other day. 1-5. They got 5 offensive touchdowns, 28% on third down, 25 sacks allowed, 5.4 yards per pass attempt for Cam Ward. They've allowed 25 sacks in 6 games. 5.4 yards per attempt for old Cam, 67.3 passer rating. He's completing it at a clip of 55%, and they're allowing 4.5 yards per carry. We touched on this a little bit earlier in the week, but this very much feels like a get-right game. If you're asking me, and I want to hear from you because we do this show together, and it's a lot of fun.
Appreciate you.
This is a week for the Patriots to say, you know what, we're going to get out the way we normally do and play normal offense. We're not going to try and prove a point. But once we do get where we want to be, we're going to make Travion Henderson carry the ball 15 to 18 times. I'd like to see that.
I think it could potentially be beneficial. The Titans are one of the worst rush defenses in football, depending on the numbers that you look at. I'm looking at next-gen stats right now. Rush yards over expected, Tom. Okay, so this is based on the tracking data and where the defensive bodies are, where the offensive bodies are, who's blocking who. What should you be getting? The Titans allow much more than that, generally speaking. They are third in the league in terms of rush yards over expected per attempt, and they're number 2 in terms of rush yards over expected overall. They're only worse or only better than the Miami Dolphins. So, long story short, there should be opportunities there that you're talking about. I don't know if you want to give Travion Henderson that many carries, though, in a game. I really don't. I think if you're going to have this be your running back room, and there's still time to add, there's the trade deadline November 4th, you've got to have these 2 guys that you have take, I think, clear-cut roles. Ramondre Stevenson has to be able to figure out how to run the football without fumbling the football and still running it effectively because he hasn't been able to mesh those 2 things just yet. And Travion Henderson needs to become their third down back and be a playmaker, be an explosive play threat. I don't think slamming him between the tackles 18 times is the best idea for his long-term future for this offense.
Doesn't he have to wear the hat a little bit that Antonio Gibson was wearing? So he can't just be a dedicated third down back. He has to be a hybrid. He has to do your third down work and be a pass blocker without holding people. And he also has to be a guy who can carry it between the tackles on first and second down because you don't want Ramondre Stevenson. You're whistling past the graveyard with him if you're giving it to him 22 times.
I don't think you want it. I don't think you want him having it 22 times. I agree with you there. And yes, I agree with you. Be the hybrid guy. To the tune of 18 touches, to me, is probably too many.
Okay. All right.
He needs to figure it out, too. He's been more efficient than Ramondre Stevenson of late, but he needs to figure it out. Have you seen anything that's impressed you with him to this point?
Burrows in, goes down. Burrows in, goes down. I'm expecting something to be broken at the second level that I haven't seen because it seems like he does get past the line of scrimmage with no contact, yards before contact. We've talked about that. And yards, it is 1.4 yards. It's 6 feet. You get 6 feet past the line of scrimmage, you are at the linebacker level. He has to make people miss there. This is interesting, and no conversation necessary because we've already had it, but Sumer Sports had a graphic that showed that the worst teams before and after contact, kind of by far, are the Patriots and the Eagles. And the Eagles are only down there in terms of yards before contact because they run the tush push. They're getting hit immediately. So you're going to have 15 to 20 plays already that they're getting hit immediately. So the Patriots would be on an island by themselves. More Sumer Sports, though. This is interesting. There's a graphic that they have that shows that the Patriots are a little less than league average using motion, about 32% of the time. But they are the most effective team in the league when they do use motion in terms of EPA. That's expected points added, which means what down you run it on and how far you get and whether it moves the sticks or not. Takes a lot of things into account, but they're first in the league when they use motion. Phil, more of that. More motion in the
More
ocean,
motion.
as they say.
More motion in the ocean. Josh McDaniels talked about motion today down at Gillette Stadium and talking about how you're always trying to get whatever little advantage you can get. I think sometimes some offensive coaches, and I think McDaniels at times would fall into this category, see motion as window dressing. They see it as cute. They see it as also, though, a little unnecessary, a little superfluous. And so I think that's probably why that number is somewhat low. But the more intel you can give Drake May, Tom, to me, the better. It seems as though he's been able to handle just about everything thrown his way. So if you feel like you can get, whether it's a little bit of a man zone indicator, or you can find out a certain matchup, or you feel like you can identify a blitz better because you're changing the picture for the defense, then yeah, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. Why not?
I don't see why not. Because if you're going to have a mobile quarterback who you can use in bootleg situations, might as well incorporate some jet sweep in there. Phil, we touched on the officiating last week and the fact that if you're going to have gambling involved, you have to be so far above board and transparent and on your stuff, especially on scoring plays, because it would invite conversation. And that, when we had that conversation, it was about wiping out a DeMario Douglas touchdown down the field when there was an innocuous, not even a penalty, but certainly not impacting the play call on the outside that came late. Well, there was another one. Kansas City and Detroit played. Detroit's Jared Goff went in motion, did not pause long enough. He caught a pass, scored a touchdown. A flag came in, got wiped off the board. Dan Campbell of the Detroit Lions, their head coach, then later said that call was not initiated on the field. It came from New York. Craig Rolstad, the official, said it didn't. Mike Florio had a great post on Pro Football Talk and went back in the archives to talk about the NFL and the need for transparency. And this is what Roger Goodell said prior to gambling being legalized for the NFL. And this is when he was saying, look, we don't want to get involved in gambling. Why? Because, quote, if gambling is permitted freely on sporting events, normal incidents of the game, such as bad snaps, dropped passes, turnovers, penalties, and play calling, inevitably will fuel speculation, distrust, and accusations of point shaving or game fixing. Well, they're there now. And I think that Mike's point in mentioning that the call came down from New York. If it did, if it didn't, most likely it did. It was a high-profile game, but it was another instance in which the Kansas City Chiefs profited from over-officious jerks and from the NFL level, if it's to be believed. And now I don't give a shit. I believe it. That they called down and said, yeah, he didn't pause. Everyone knows that they're talking about it. You got to get it off the board. Boom, zing, zang. But now you've opened the Pandora's box of, okay, well, what other calls are being overruled that are not supposed to be overruled, and how much are they hiding from us, and why? Why are the Kansas City Chiefs continually on the beneficial end of illegal screens? I know it's a basketball term. It's always them with the screens. 2018 AFC Championship, bad screen, touchdown. Billy lost his mind, but. There's, bat it around if you like.
Well, listen, I think it's important, and you mentioned it at the end. I think there are a lot of people who don't realize that that's not supposed to happen. The calling down from New York. That's not supposed to happen, right? The challenges, plays that get challenged, go to New York and get reviewed there, and that's how these calls get made. They're not supposed to just come over the top from the heavens and impact a game in that way. And so that, to me, you're right. How often is that happening? Why is it happening? I hesitate when mentioning the Chiefs specifically. I understand there are a lot of reasons as to why the NFL might like them to continue to have success, but the Patriots were kind of accused of this kind of thing for a long time too. And listen, the officiating in the Patriots is, on both sides, is not a strange topic to us, whether it's the rule change in the middle of the Super Bowl at the end of the 2017 season where Corey Clement ended up with a touchdown that probably shouldn't have been a touchdown in the back of the end zone, or it's the Snow Bowl and Tom Brady and the tuck rule. Like, at both ends, they've been impacted by funky officiating. So I don't want to get to that Chiefs place. Mm-hmm. But this stuff and the stuff we saw in the Patriots-Saints game does need to be looked at, and they need to tell us what they're finding here. Or Roger Goodell needs to start answering questions on a regular basis about this stuff.
I think what the true issue here is that Troy Vincent is the VP of operations. He's in charge of officials. There's been a drastic change in the officials, the personnel, in the 10, 15 years that he's been involved. And we don't scrutinize the individual officials nor their crews the same way we scrutinize the teams. They're players. They're virtually players. They're more important than the 40th to 53rd guy on the roster in most instances in terms of what they're going to do to impact the game on a week-to-week basis. And just the organizational chaos that I was watching on the field last week, from the calls themselves to the timing of the calls to the adjudication of the calls to the announcing of the calls, where a guy turned the wrong way and started talking away from the camera. Phil loved that. They're just not ready for prime friggin' time.
So they've got to hire full-time officials, I feel like.
I don't even know if it's full-time officials. And I don't mean to be contrary, but oftentimes people say that. They need to be more transparent, and they need to be more arduous. So maybe they do need to be full-time, but they need to be more arduous in terms of the people that they are putting into these positions. Because as I've said, I didn't mind watching Jerry Seaman run up and down the field, or, I could have done without Ed Hockley, but some of the old guys, your old Red Cashins.
Sure. Who could forget?
First
I don't
down. Know. You don't remember Red Cashin?
I might if I saw him.
You definitely would. He's the guy who was giving the business guy.
Oh, okay, sure.
And every time he made a call for a first down, Holden on defense, number 44.
Sure.
First down. Okay? These guys who couldn't keep up with the play and were waddling down the field after it at least had a concept of what they were doing. But the overreach and the hands in the soup all the time from the league with trying to put the right people in the right positions and having changing the way the officiating is manned so drastically. And then these people who are elevated now feel, I think, the onus is on them to serve two masters, serve the referees, but not serve the game itself, or the officials, or the teams on the sideline, or the coaches. I don't think that they work for the game. They work for their leadership. It's a very convoluted point I'm making, but I just think that it's wow, breaking news. It's going to be cleaned up.
I think the way around it, the reason I say full-time officials is you get better people if you're offering more money and full-time work. You've got the dough. You're saying it like they're more important. They're more impactful on a game than the 53rd or the 46th man that's in uniform. So why shouldn't they be paid in such a way that you're getting the best and the brightest, and it's not just officials and their sons? I mean, it's crazy, Tom. Like, are they really getting the best people, whether you're a Hockley or apparently Jerome Boger's son was on the crew that was working the Patriots-Saints game the other day? And so it doesn't feel like they're getting the best possible talent to work these games. I don't think they're corrupt. I really don't. You'd
I
be
think they're
stupid
inept.
to. I think they're incompetent.
Different PT word. Different word that ends in PT. It's inept, not corrupt.
Or incompetent. That's
an NT.
There are P's and T's in that word.
Yeah. Time for the trivia answer, Phil.
Oh, good. Thank God. I've been waiting.
Folks, the question was, if you joined us late, you probably didn't because it's a taped show. The question was, what was the significance of the October 5th, 2003 win by the Patriots over the Titans, in which they scored 38 points and the Titans scored 30, and the two teams scored 38 points in the final 16 minutes? It was the first win in what would become an NFL record 21-game winning streak for the Patriots. Okay? Did you know that?
I did not know that. I did not know that that was the first win in that streak.
Okay, then when did it end? Folks, bonus.
"22 games later."
Who were they playing and what was the holiday?
Was it a Thanksgiving game?
No, earlier. Not really a holiday, but.
I don't know. Tell me.
Okay, fine. Halloween 2004 at Heinz Field. Steelers behind rookie quarterback Ben Roethlisberger take down the Patriots. Ty Law blows out his leg. Brady threw a pick six to who I can't remember who it was, but shit, I've never heard a lot. Sorry, kids, never heard a louder stadium. I've heard some loud stadiums. You know what the loudest stadium I ever heard in my life was? The first time I ever went down on a field in a stadium was Three Rivers Stadium, the 1997 playoff game that the Patriots lost 7-6, because you can go down on the field when the game's ending so you can get to the locker room.
Sure.
Lickety split. And that bowl, which doesn't really exist anymore in the NFL, the big-ass concrete bowls, it was weird because you're down there and the sound just goes around like a cyclone. It was wild to feel that for the first time.
That's pretty cool. We were down on the field for the end of the 2018 AFC Championship game.
That was great.
That was very cold and very loud.
Play. And we got overtime, the entire overtime.
We got the whole overtime because we were walking down, I think, when D. Ford was called for offsides.
We paused in a little suite,
a
little corporate suite as we were going through to look at that. We thought the party was over.
What a wild game that was. We were on the field trying to get players. Patriots players celebrating on the field, and you and I were running and grabbing guys and trying to get them for TV.
And we really got a taste of how verbally abusive Kansas City Chiefs fans can truly be. Not that
I don't really remember that part of it, where they were.
Well, I'm rabbit-eared. You know,
I don't remember that part of it. Were they crushing you? Were they
just crushing? No,
berating us?
They were full-throated and angry.
Yeah,
but they were trying to get to a Super Bowl.
I get it. I get it.
While we're here, let's take a couple other veers. I remember the AFC Championship game in Denver. Sometimes your stuff gets repurposed and used in other locales, and somehow I had said something about the Broncos, and I was going back and forth with the Broncos writer all week. And we would do our pregame stuff down on the field, and we'd be right next to the stands, and somebody ID'd me from in the Broncos stands. So you're only 7 feet away, and I was catching all kinds of crap, trying to do my stand-up before the game.
I'm sure that went well for you.
Yeah, no, I don't hear a thing. Yeah, blinders on.
Just head down. Just
I don't hear anything.
Just plowed right through.
Nor
one
do I
take.
react.
Nothing said.
I was also on the field, Champaign, Illinois, when the Patriots beat the Bears 33-30 in an overtime game. David Patton catching a touchdown pass right at my feet. And Giardi and I were there when Billy Cundiff got on the field late and hooked his field goal. Those are my favorite on-the-field moments.
That's a good one. The Cundiff. That was right the end of the 2011 season, right?
Yeah, I was right under the goalpost. Hooked the shit out of it.
That was a Sterling Moore game.
Sorry, kids.
Sterling Moore had the pass breakup that led to that.
On Anquan Bolden.
No.
But he's been reinvented as.
No, wasn't it? I thought it was.
It was another good player. It was a good player. He got his hand in there. It was close to being a catch.
It was. But who was it that he broke the pass up on? It was was it Jacoby?
I think it's Sterling Moore Ravens. No, it was a better player than Jacoby Jones.
Okay, let's look this up. One of the loudest stadiums that I've ever been in was actually in Buffalo. The end of that 2022 season. Remember the Nyheim Hines? Was it a Sunday night?
Yeah, right after DeMar Hamlin.
It was right after DeMar Hamlin. That place was bumping, and the first play of the game, not from scrimmage, of the game, Nyheim Hines returns a kick for a touchdown. That place was shaking. It was so loud. And that press box, you're kind of like, you're among the people almost. You're definitely closed in, but it's like you are in the 300 section. You're behind one of the end zones there. And he caught it right in front of us and went all the way to the other end, and the press box was literally shaking. Pretty wild. And a cool moment. I mean, it was an obviously emotional building for a lot of reasons.
Also, the most movement I ever felt in a press box was at Mile High Stadium. That thing moving.
That thing is up very high, isn't it?
18 inches it would move.
If I'm remembering
I'm saying,
correctly,
like, you could feel it.
Yeah,
it swayed. But it was mile high. It wasn't in Vesco.
Oh, okay. I think I've only been to Invesco. Yeah.
I was at the old ass one in 97, 98 when the Patriots were playing there, and they could never get over the hump against Terrell Davis and John Elway. And holy crap, like, kind of scary, bumping around trying to fax my story in to the Metro West Daily News.
Who had dibs on the fax machine when you guys? When you guys had to fax those things?
It was called a Trash 80. It was like this little thing you had to plug in.
Oh, you had your own?
Well, no, I didn't have my own fax machine, but there were these little weird computers. Google Trash 80.
It was Lee Evans, by the way. Lee Evans.
Oh yeah, he was a good Bills receiver.
He was a good player.
Who was the other guy?
He wasn't
Stevie. What's his name with the Bills?
Oh, Stevie Johnson.
Yeah,
Stevie Johnson, the
guy
who he ate money. Remember when he ate money? Why did he do that?
Starving.
He used to write stuff on a white T-shirt. He used to wear a white T-shirt under his jersey, and he would pull it up. He was a nasty route runner, and sneaky gave Darrelle Revis all kinds of problems, like throughout his career.
Phil, let's close with this. The Patriots are more than closing in on playoff possibilities. Okay? They are in first place in the American Football Conference's Eastern Division, and Mike Vrabel was asked by Karen Garigian on Wednesday whether it was affirming for him to be in first place in the AFC East. Here's Mike.
Well, they're not going to cancel the rest of the season, and that's not really our focus right now. But I would say that we put ourselves in a position to play meaningful games. Not that they aren't all meaningful, but certainly focusing on this one on the road.
To amplify and buttress that point, Phil, going to playoffstatus.com. How about this guy?
What?
Yeah, playoffstatus.com. It's an entire website. It gives the different percentages for being the first seed, second seed, third seed, fourth seed, and which wild card. Additionally, it will give percentages for the point in which you will get. They have a 5% chance of winning the Super Bowl, 11% chance of getting to the AFC Championship. And I get that because once you're in there, in the playoffs, there's only so many teams that can win the thing. So, anyway, the likelihood of making the playoffs, the Steelers have the greatest likelihood in the AFC with 88%. The Colts have 83%. You know who else has 83%?
Stop it. You're New England Patriots.
Phil is checked out over there.
This site is hilarious. I mean, it's got great info, but it's definitely using like clip art images.
It is.
For football. This is your NFL odds. Basketball. Here are your basketball odds.
Broncos have 72%, as do the Jaguars, a 72% likelihood. The Chargers, 69%. Nice. And the Bills, 63%. And we were talking about it briefly, but this season could not have shaped up any better for the Patriots in terms of you play a season opening game against a team that's probably on your level at that point, the Raiders. And you get info in that game that says, you know what, you screw up, you're going to lose games. You don't take care of the ball, we have some hard evidence because you should have won. Go to Miami against a team that's in disarray, and you get one of the coveted road wins in a hostile environment, albeit against a bad team, but you get more amplification that defensively, if you make mistakes, you could lose the game, but you got a good quarterback, because he played flawless in that game. And they won the game because of Drake. Came back at a little bit more info against a team that's probably at that point a little better than them, the Steelers, which still has a better record, which who still has? They still have, be that. And you realize that you could have won by 21, but you lost because you made so many mistakes. Then you have the Panthers game. Okay, that's like going back from the SAT to the PSAT. And you rip it up on the PSAT, and you feel good and prepared for your next exam, which is the SAT, and you sit down in Buffalo and you ace the thing. Okay, I don't know what acing at BC High was probably different than at Silver Lake, but you did real good. Okay? And now you had a New Orleans game that you probably had amped up importance just to make sure you validate the win. But now you got Tennessee, and if there wasn't a Mike Vrabel, Brian Callahan, Schick Cannon connection, you don't know if they would have had the same impetus. Like, say it was some Browns. That could be dangerous.
I agree. But
instead, it's a team that you have some motivation to pummel. So the season just continues to meld nicely. Is there a point at which the Patriots are going to get too big too soon?
Maybe Cleveland.
I mean, it's,
next week. I don't know. It's hard to predict it now.
You got a nice 2-game tester, and then you go back to the Patsies. You got Falcons, who seem like they might be okay at best, or at worst, and the Bucs, who are legitimately good. So to me, this schedule has really played into their hands, and I do not think the playoffs is premature, nor do you folks. 54.6% of you, when I put out my poll today, said, bring it on with all the playoff talk, and 46% said it makes you a little bit edgy.
That's interesting. That's a higher number than I would have thought, the edgy group. It's almost a 50-50 split. Got a bunch of nervous Nellies out there.
If your math is correct, and I'm sure it is.
And by the way, I do want to compliment playoffstatus.com. I was laughing at their art, but this is great content. This is a great site. I just followed them on X awesome. At Playoff Status. Go ahead and follow, and they do everything. They do soccer, they do hockey, anyway. Great work.
Right.
Great work by them.
So thanks to Sumer Sports. Look at the size. Look, they have a monitor running. For those of you who are listening to this, they have a monitor running in the pod room here with our main feed, and they're getting ready to do quick slants in 15 minutes, so they're using our graphics. The trivia question, I thought that my guy Robbie Buckets would trim it down before he put it into the screen. He used everything in the trivia question.
Just threw it all in there.
All the details.
The Ty Law had a 65-yard pick six.
So there's a paragraph before at the bottom. It says, what was historic about the win?
Brevity there, Buckets. Just go Patriots-Titans played on October 5th, 2003. What was historic about the win?
It's not his fault. I send too much detail. But you'll be able to see quick slants 7 or 8 times this weekend because it replays incessantly on the program. Here comes Mack Hollins, and after Mack's done, we're out. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Mack Hollins, Patriots wide receiver. He's been around the league a little bit. Boy, it's good to have him here right now. My friend, what's your earliest memory of being alive? This is irrelevant questions.
Being alive, yeah. For some reason, I remember a track practice from when I was a little kid, like very, very little, and winning at like the very end of the track. Like it was a practice 400 meter, and like I won at the very end. But I remember like getting kind of yelled at because I was lollygagging at the beginning. And I remember my parents, or it was probably my dad, was like, why didn't you start running the whole time? And it never really clicked to me until like I realized, if I just run hard the whole time, I could win.
I could try and lap them.
Yeah, I could try to I could just don't have to win at the very end. So yeah, that's probably, I don't know why that's the memory I just thought of, but.
No playing trucks, no sitting there eating strained peaches or anything like that? None of that?
I used to have tomato soup at my best friend's house when I was a little kid. Always tomato soup, nothing else in it. I remember that.
I'm a weird guy. I can remember.
I had Connects where I'd make roller coasters and stuff way back in the day.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have Lincoln logs.
There you go.
I don't know if they still make those things.
They might not. Kids aren't as creative anymore. They build everything for them now.
Yeah, it's all on the computer. Mack, your dad played at West Virginia in the glory days of Eastern College football. Major Harris was his quarterback. Doug Flutie was at Boston College at the time. Those were the glory days of the 80s. What did you learn from him, and have you ever looked back at some of the things that he did at West Virginia?
Yeah, I've probably taken everything. I played football because he played football. It's kind of what I've always just like gravitated towards. But he was never like forced me to play football or told me I should play football. He just said, whatever you do, work hard in it. If you want to be a football player, if you want to be a businessman, if you want to be a janitor, if you want to be anything in the world, work harder than everybody else at it, and you'll be all right. And it worked out all right for me so far.
He was really good. I mean, he was second team All East. Back then they had, Eastern, and he was also on that second team was Doug Marrone.
Yep.
from Syracuse.
Yep.
Have you ever compared notes with Doug about him playing against you?
I haven't. Maybe I'll have to grill them and see what their record is against each other.
Syracuse was nasty back then, too. You have said that small cats will steal your soul.
Yeah.
Does that go for kittens, too, or just undersized cats?
No, well, really the only cats that don't count are like big, the ones that grow up big, so lions, tigers. Those ones are acceptable, even when they're young.
Okay.
But kittens are they're just smaller than what they're going to eventually be, which is a small cat.
So there's some inborn evil there, too.
Yeah, always.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
All you cat people out there, you can still root for him, okay? There's a lot of upside to this guy. For instance, if you walk into a place that says no shirt, no shoes, no service, you might not be going in. You don't like wearing shoes.
I'll try to get in. If they say I can't, then I'll leave. If I'm with the group, I'll go with shoes because I don't want to ruin it for everybody. But if I'm by myself, grocery store, restaurant, I've been kicked out of many a restaurant.
Where did the barefooting start?
Started from Melbourne Muscular Therapy. They're a group of trainers out in Australia.
Yeah.
They came and basically fixed me after I had an injury early on in my career. They got me back right, but they showed up to America. I flew them out from Australia, and they showed up barefoot. And now everybody looks at me like, what in the world is wrong with you? The exact same thing. That's how I looked at them. I was like, what are y'all doing? But I just embraced it, and I was like, let's do it. And about 3 years ago, I said, what do I even wear them at all for? Because I was training with them for like 4 or 5 years. I just trained barefoot. And then one day I was like, what's the point?
If it wasn't for the fact that you would probably get somebody stomping on your foot during a game, could you play an NFL game barefoot?
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of guys would get exposed if they didn't have the cleats. A lot of guys' footwork ain't as sweet as those cleats make them look.
See? Same thing with the gloves.
Yeah,
Same thing with the gloves.
It's like a cork bat.
You also don't love utensils.
Nope.
How do you go about dining at a steakhouse? Again, you might yield to the customs.
Well, it depends. If I'm paying, I'll eat it with my hands.
You're going to pick that ribeye straight up?
Yeah. I think that's the proper way to eat a steak in general. If I'm not paying, I'll go to custom. But I grew up taking like etiquette lessons and all these things, so I know how to
Oh, yeah,
where
I know you're
forks
not
go,
primitive.
Yeah, so I know all these things. I just feel like they're not I think they're better. The way I do things, I think, are better for my body than using utensils. I think your body digests better when you eat with your hands. You know temperature better. Your feet get stronger when you're barefoot. So it's usually the stuff I do is for a reason. It just seems.
Oh, I know you're not just being quirky to be quirky.
Yeah, it's actually.
No, who would do
there's
that?
actual purpose.
No, and you have. We're going to get to this in a minute. He has a TikTok account which delves into all manner of self-improvement and home improvement aspects. This is the sixth team, as I alluded to earlier, that you've been on. How hard was it to stay positive throughout these different stops and try to say, well, okay, my niche or my role might be different here, and why can't I have one role that always transfers?
Yeah, I think since really like leaving Miami and kind of going on this journey, I've always bet on myself. That was kind of my thing. So I never felt down on myself. I think before I signed with the next team, I'm like, well, why don't y'all want me here after everything I've done? But then it's like, all right, if you don't, so be it. I'll bet on myself. I put in a lot of work. I trust the work that I've put in. Let me go somewhere that wants me and wants to have me. And I think that's why I enjoy myself so much wherever I go. Like, I signed here because they wanted me, and now I'm in a place that I'm wanted. And like, okay, let me put in some work and go to work. That's not to necessarily say every other team didn't want me at all, but like in this business, unfortunately, like if you go out to eat with your wife, that's a way of showing that you love her. All these things, you buy her flowers. In the NFL, a contract is how you show you love somebody or you want somebody at the end of the day. So I've seen the numbers make sense for anybody. So they can make the numbers make sense. And I know that they made the numbers make sense here, and that's why I was excited to be here.
It's good to have you.
Yeah.
It really is. Now, another place you bet on yourself was in North Carolina.
Yep.
You were a walk-on. You had to get into the school, which is not an easy school to get into on your own.
Yeah.
You were very, very productive while you were there. So you must have a lot of North Carolina pride. This has not been the best season for the Tar Heels so far. What the hell's going on down there?
Yeah, I don't know. I try to stay out of that. When it gets bad, I learned it early on in my career. Don't bet on your own team. Like, if you're not playing, you never know what's going on in college. The guy might have had a bad test. He might have his girlfriend broke up with him. It's not his day-to-day job. He just kind of and now they got NIL. They got appearances they got to do. They're too worried about too many things. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Maybe they'll turn around. I hope they turn around. That way I can, stand on something over here.
Are you stunned that the greatest coach in NFL history in so many people's minds has had such a difficult time down there?
That's college football for you.
They're kids.
Yeah,
They're kids.
It's different. It's not the same thing. It's just a whole different world, and it just keeps getting. I feel like that gap gets further and further the more they become these NIL athletes.
Your TikTok account.
Yep.
Explain it to me. You do, Fun Fact
kinda
Friday.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to interact with?
It started with the book club, MacBook Mondays. Then it grew to Fast Fact Fridays, and then last year was like these challenges that I did every month, and now I got the hacks, Mac hacks on Tuesdays.
Give me a Mac hack.
About what? What kind of what topic do you want?
See, I'm a lawn care guy, so I'm going to say lawn care. You got any lawn care
Lawn
hacks?
care for like to keep like mosquitoes away type of lawn care?
Okay, let's go with that.
Yeah, so you get a bucket of water, standing water. Put you can take the trimmings from you cut the grass, put the trimmings in there. Let them sit in there, and it's called a mosquito dunk. Put the mosquito dunk in. Mosquitoes will come, they'll lay their eggs on it because it's standing water. All the eggs will go in there, but the mosquito dunk has something that'll kill the eggs before they can hatch. So all these eggs will keep getting laid in there, but they won't hatch. But you're not getting rid of the mosquitoes and them going somewhere else. You just have this bucket. And then you can refresh the bucket every so often. But you put 2 or 3 of those around your backyard.
People paying attention. You get your mosquito magnets out there. You're spreading propane all over
they
the
start doing
countryside.
all types of stuff. They do lasers and all this. Like, listen, it's not modern warfare. It's mosquitoes. There's ways to get them. Or you can get bats, but that's up to your HOA.
But bats is a good purchase too.
Yeah.
Would that be your favorite animal, bird, or flying thing that most people don't like?
Yeah, because they serve a great purpose in terms of like the animals and all, or like mosquitoes and pest repellents. Bats are fantastic.
Big bat guy. Good.
Yeah.
What's the vibe of this team right now? There's so many guys. I'll just interject and make it a long-ass question. Between yourself, Milton Williams, Garrett Bradbury, Morgan Moses, Diggs, there's so many guys who have joined this team with unique, big, kind of fun personalities.
Yeah.
What's the vibe of this team right now, even with the young guys, Jared Wilson and Campbell? What's the vibe going on right now as you guys have early success?
Yeah, obviously the vibe is probably a little better because of winning. But I think even before we were winning and everybody kind of got on this, I guess, train of, the Patriots are winning, woo, whatever. We believed in each other. We believed that we were going to come out here and practice at this level every week, no matter what. Win, lose, draw, we're coming to practice at this level. So we knew before we had any success that at the end of the day we're going to at least work hard and give ourselves a chance on Sunday. You can't guarantee anything, but we're going to give ourselves a chance, and that's what we've been able to do, and I think that's why the vibe now looks so great. But I think it was always kind of like this. It was always like the guys were excited to come to practice, excited to be in the meetings and like joke with each other, but then still get work done, and it's been awesome.
You guys are in first place in the AFC East, ahead of your most recent former team, the Bills.
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of jaw-dropping because this has not been a good team the last 2 years.
I don't know. I wasn't here the last 2 years. I'm only here now. I can't speak for the past, but I know, we're out here to continue to, give ourselves a chance to stay where we are right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, this is my favorite part of the program. You say, hey, what's your number? We're number 13.
I'm number 13, yeah.
You love that number?
I wore it in college.
Why 13?
Because 13 is supposed to be lucky or whatever, but my mom jokes all the time that I'm super unlucky with like scars and cuts, and I walked on and like took a harder path to get to where I am. But it works out because I always just keep pushing through.
So embrace.
So I embraced this lucky, unlucky kind of conundrum.
Good deal.
Yeah.
What other number would you have if you couldn't have 13?
I've worn 10 before.
How'd you feel about that?
10 was all right. I won a Super Bowl in it.
Oh, yeah, you
So
did.
it wasn't terrible.
Oh, I forgot to ask about that.
Yeah, but 10 was already taken. So
10 has been taken. It's been
so
taken
13
for a
was
few years.
13 is probably I'd prefer that number over any other. And then maybe 10 after that.
Okay.
Or 88. That was my dad's number.
88.
I never got to wear 88 though.
It's a
Receivers
great
don't really
receiver
wear it
number.
anymore.
I don't
Yeah,
understand
they used
why.
to, yeah.
Starting with Lynn Swan, when I started
Yeah.
watching, you go to your Lynn
Steelers,
Swan, your
yeah.
Michael Irvin, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
Yeah.
Everybody had to have 88.
Yeah.
I wore 83 in honor of John Jefferson.
go. Okay.
John Jefferson from the Chargers.
Yeah.
Of course, I had 0 catches in JV. But they did throw to me once.
There you go.
Off my face mask. But that's a different story for a different time. What was your feeling when you beat the vaunted Patriots in 2017 as a member of the Eagles? Before that final drive started, and it was 41-33, did you say, oh, no, Brady's got the ball?
No, I don't think I was. Maybe I was too young and naive to understand it all. Because even when we won, I was like smiling ear to ear, and the older guys were like, "Y'all so lucky. Y'all don't understand it yet. You're taking it for granted." I'm like, "No, I'm not." Because in my mind, all you had to do was win 3 playoff games, and you're either in the Super Bowl or gonna win the Super Bowl after that. I didn't touch the playoffs again until last year. And that kind of came to that realization quick that it's not that easy to get to the Super Bowl.
Well, there's a chance that Mack Hollins will be part of a team that goes back-to-back years. You guys go in the playoffs? Don't answer.
Got to find a way.
All right, good. Okay. I was trying to protect you. I still have.
No guarantees, but our goal is to win the division, host home playoff games, compete for championships.
Good deal. Mack, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.